Assalamu alaikum. My name is Atyab. I'm from Codeline, and we have also Daniel from Codeline Kareem. And I believe you have seen us a couple of times, like we were present here in the last, not the last, I don't know, in Sadiq's Rihal talk here. So the topic of our discussion today, in summary, is detoxification. Now, we will get more into it as we move forward. But when I heard about this topic the first time, I felt it my responsibility to share it with as much people as I can. Because this is definitely going to help people who are struggling with focus, who find it difficult to concentrate on their work-related activities. Right? Sometimes like it feels really boring when you are doing some complex tasks. So we are going to see two things. First, why does this happen? Like why it is so hard to tackle complex things. Second thing, can we do something about it? Can we improve our focus? So these are the two things that we are going to see. I'm going to start with a scenario here in this presentation, and I believe you can relate to it. You see this guy holding a phone. So let's say you wake up in the morning, right, and you pick up your phone and you start scrolling social media for hours, sometimes even for hours. I know myself, I like more than 1.5 an hour and sometimes 2 hours even, right? Without breaking concentration is the key here, right? So why does it seem easy for us to do? On the other hand, if you want to work on your side project, or let's say you want to work on your business, side business, for example, or let's say you have to work on a complex task that is going to take time, it feels very hard to do, right? But there is an exception. You will see exceptions everywhere. There are certain people who are consistent with complex tasks, who read books daily, right? And who have no trouble like working on their side businesses, and they have a way to prioritize it. So for some people it's easy. For most of the people it's quite difficult doing this thing here. So really we have to answer some questions. First is, what makes difficult things seem effortless for certain individuals, for people? On the other hand, can we do something about ourselves? People who find reading a book, preparing for an exam difficult, can we do something about it? Can we make it easy for us? Is the thing that we are going to explain. Okay, but to answer these two questions, you have to first understand a neurotransmitter called dopamine. Now this is a very different perspective from medical sciences, and by the way, I'm not a medical expert, so the limited knowledge that I have, I'm going to share it with you. Right? So dopamine, some people call it the pleasure molecule, but this is something that makes us desire, that motivates us to do anything. Even if you are thirsty, you want to go and grab a cup of water, you need motivation, you need dopamine for that. Now, just let me tell you how important dopamine is. For that, I'm going to share an experiment with you. All of the references of research papers and some videos are at the end of the slide, so we'll see that. Neuroscientists, they experimented on some rats. What they did is they attached this electrode in their brains, and whenever the rat pulled this lever, they stimulated dopamine. They stimulated the rat's reward system. So the rat felt good. So you know what the rat started doing? It pressed the lever again. Then again the scientists did what? They again stimulated dopamine, or the reward system in our brains, in the rat's brain. So this rat, you know, it got addicted to pressing the lever again and again and again until this happened. By the way, it's not dead, okay? So this is just exhausted. So it kept on doing the levers for hours. I believe it was 2 hours. I don't recall it correctly. It's in the research paper. So for 2 hours, it didn't want anything to eat. It didn't want to drink water. It just wanted to pull the lever. So this is how strong dopamine is, right? Now, on the other hand, let's check this. So there's another rat. And what neuroscientists did, they blocked dopamine receptors for this rat. And what happened? It looked like the rat lost all the motivation to live. Like, it was hungry, it didn't walk to take food, although the food was in front of him. It was that close. It would not eat it because it was not motivated enough to like step forward and take some food. Yes, although if you put this food in rat's mouth, then it would eat it, according to the research. So this is how strong dopamine is. It motivates us to do anything, everything. Even if you have to take a glass of water, you need motivation. Okay, so let's say this is our brain. Okay, and now the brain, you know, our creator has designed us in such a way that our brain, it prioritizes things naturally. Like you won't even know it. It's something that happens, like it's unconscious. You don't know about it. So what happens? Let's say there are some activities. Let's say preparing for an exam or upskilling yourself for a long-term goal. You need to achieve a long-term goal, something that is good for you in the long term. So if you work on that thing, the brain will release only a small amount of dopamine. So we are going to refer it as low dopamine activities. This is like working on your side business, working on complex tasks that are hard, where you get stuck on, right? And as soon as you get stuck, you just pick up the phone. Like this happens with all of us, right? You take a huge break, then you start procrastinating, and it goes on, right? And you just reach the deadline, and then you cannot give enough time, right? You compromise on quality. This happens with every one of us. Unfortunately, yes, this is the truth. These activities, they release dopamine in lower amounts. So we will refer them as low dopamine activities. On the other hand, let's say people who like eating cakes, right? So it's a comfort food. So what will happen is that when you order a cake, a very good cake with very good rating and something that you like, so what will happen? The brain will release dopamine in high amounts. We are going to refer these activities as high dopamine activities. Okay? Low dopamine activities, high dopamine activities. Now, you know, the brain automatically prioritizes high dopamine activities on low dopamine activities. This will happen naturally. This will become boring, and this seems very interesting, naturally. So there's one thing. So okay, the thing is that let's take a couple of more look at a couple of more examples. For example, drug addicts, extreme examples, right? So when we talk about people who do drugs, now I can only discuss it because I don't know the feeling, but anyways, right? People who do drugs, it releases unnatural amount of dopamine. So you know, those people, they just want to do more drugs and maybe stronger drugs. That's the purpose of their life. Why? Because everything else seems boring to them. Okay. The second thing that is something important to understand here is dopamine is also released in high quantity when we are expecting a random reward. For example, I will give you my example. So when I go to Phantasmo there in Avenues Mall, so like with my wife, so you know, there are machines from which you can pick up the toys, right? So we know that we are going to get the reward sooner or later, maybe, but we keep on trying. We keep on like trying it, even if it falls off or happens. But we know that because we are going to get a reward, so we will just put in money, right? We don't know when, but when we are able to get it, right? So the feeling that we get is amazing. So we get a lot of dopamine for random activities. By the way, this is an example of a casino where people just waste their money, keep on wasting their money because they expect that something is going to happen soon that is going to give them pleasure. Now, same goes for social media, right? When you open Instagram, I believe I don't use Instagram a lot, Reels, right? and Facebook Shorts. So social media is designed in such a way that like they personalize, they have personalized ads, they have personalized content, something they know that what you like, right? So they will show you feeds, the things that you like, step by step. You will just keep on scrolling, and you will do what? You will think, okay, maybe I will see something better or something more interesting in the next video. So you keep on scrolling, even if it's not interesting, but you will keep on scrolling because you have a hope that I will get something good, because you will get pleasure from it, dopamine. So kind of same goes for the people, including me, right, sometimes. We are all trying, of course, right? So we pick up our phone for no reason at all, and we check if there is any notification or not. Why? Because we expect that we are going to get a notification sooner or later, but we will get it. So we are kind of becoming like those rat that we discussed in the experiment, where scientists stimulated dopamine, right? And they just keep on doing it until they get exhausted. So this is a very dangerous thing. Now you will say, okay, so what? I can stop, I can restrict myself, I can stop, and everything will be okay, right? So this is where we can be wrong. It's not so easy to get rid of it, and there's a reason for that. The reason is there's a biological system in our body called homeostasis. So this system is responsible to keep a balance in our body, be it chemical balance, be it like physical balance. It keeps the balance. For example, if let's say you are in a very cold room, so you will shiver. Why do we shiver? Because our body wants to generate heat. And similarly, if you are standing, let's say, outside in the parking under the sun, then your body will start sweating. Why does it sweat? Because the body wants to cool itself, right? So balance, homeostasis is there. But there is a way homeostasis can manifest itself. That is tolerance. If you push your body, if you, let's say, consistently expose your body towards harsh conditions, so your body will let's say, what is the word that we use? It will actually, form tolerance. So you will get used to it, used to something, right? Like that will become your new normal. Just one example to clarify this is, let's say a person who drinks alcohol, right? So a person who rarely drinks alcohol will get drunk really fast. A person who drinks alcohol daily, he will have a hard time getting drunk really fast. He will have to drink more glasses. So the body, because of homeostasis, right? The homeostasis changes as a state. And that is what we call tolerance. This is also true for dopamine receptors. If we continuously expose ourselves to activities, that high dopamine activities, what will happen? Our brain get used to it. And what will happen? Our homeostasis will downregulate the dopamine receptors. And then everything besides the important things will seem boring. Like besides the entertaining things like video games, Netflix, social media, and everything will seem boring. And it's very hard, to reverse these effects. So this is a problem that I saw, and I wanted to discuss this with you. Anyways, can we do something about it? Is the topic of the presentation, right? Like, what can we do? So there are people who have used different techniques to reverse these effects, because our body have adapted to it. Now we have to, reverse these effects. How can we do that? Through something called dopamine detox or detoxification, right? You can call it like distraction fasting, gratification fasting, or there are many synonyms. So what is dopamine detox? Just think about it. Let's say take Thursday would not be a good thing because it's end of the week, right? Let's say Sunday. So let's take Sunday. We cannot take Sunday because it's a working day, but you're not allowed to do these things the whole day, right? You're not allowed to use the internet, a smartphone, your laptop or PC or MacBook, whatever, TV, movies, music, and you're not allowed to take junk food. Like, it's impossible, right? Just tell me, like, it's really, it feels like impossible. Okay? But however, you are allowed to do certain other things that are beneficial. Like go for a walk, exercise, pray. Just sit, think about why we were created, right? Why we were sent in this world, what we are doing and what we have to do. Reflect upon yourself, right? Now, why would this work? Again, is a question. You know why would this work? Okay, let's see another example. Let's say you are a person, let's say Rihal gives you freedom to eat anything in lunch for free. Any restaurant, no matter how expensive it is, you can order anything at lunch, no matter what, right? And suddenly, like I've given this example using Fatma, but anyways, in code line. So let's say someone brings a ball of rice, plain ball of rice, very boring, right? When you have the option to eat anything that you like, I'm pretty sure that most of the people, they will ignore this ball of rice, because this is all related to the reward system that we have in our brains. Now, think about this. Think about this. Let's say you are stuck on an island, right? You have nowhere to go, you have nothing to eat, and there's nothing you can do about it. And suddenly, let's say, it's not possible, but someone gives you this bowl of rice there. Now, you know what? Automatically, like it will make sense to you. And because you have no option, you will embrace boredom. And you will start eating it. That's another story. When you have options, then again, you will switch back. So that is very difficult to do or restrict yourself. But let me know if you understand this example, right? So if you expose yourself to high dopamine activities, that becomes your new normal, right? And if you want to, let's say, switch back, you have to embrace boredom. You have to avoid all of the activities that you do, like using social media for hours, watching movies, just for one day in a week. And you will see automatically the things that were very boring will start becoming interesting for you. There's one thing. So you can just see your calendar, see which day suits you best, maybe Friday, Saturday, and you can try to do it. Now again, I know this is extreme, right? Like I tried myself multiple times, but majority fails. They're not able to do it. Like you can see, right? Like we like sugar a lot, so we get fat. Yes, so that is also because of dopamine. Anyway, so yes, there's one thing we can do. This is something that is easy to do. You just have to restrict yourself. You have to just, it's all about self-control. It's something that parents do with their children. They limit the screen time, right? Then they will reward the children with something. For example, they will say, okay, eat your vegetables, then you will get an ice cream, for example, right? So we can self-parent ourselves, like we can control ourselves like this. When you wake up in the morning, don't start your day with high dopamine activities. Start your day with low dopamine activities, always. Because if you start with high dopamine activities, let's say you wake up and you pick up your phone and you start watching a movie, let's say, or scroll social media, every other thing that is a low dopamine activity will be boring. And it would be really hard to do it. So one technique is to always start with low dopamine activities. Like usually what I try to do, I will get up and I will have a goal in mind, right? That I have to do this task. I will spend 1 hour on this task. After 1 hour, I'm going to watch 15 minutes of YouTube. So I'm going to engage myself in low dopamine activities just to reward myself with high dopamine activities, right? So this is what I'm talking about. So you can, again, it's dynamic, whatever suits you, you can plan it. So what you can do, you can, let's say, spend 1 hour or 30 minutes doing a complex task. Even if you are stuck, just think about it, just stay there and keep researching about it, right? And also see the time, 30 minutes. So that's, because then you will have a hope. Okay, yes, it's just 30 minutes. Then I will watch 15 minutes of YouTube. Because your brain prioritizes high dopamine activities, the brain will try to reach there, and the brain will know that the only way to reach or get the reward is by going through this. So you're kind of training your brain, training your mind. And now it seems like it might not work, but it works for many people. But you just have to try it out. 1 hour, focused hour, without any smartphones. Like there are techniques, people, they buy a lengthy table and they put the phone at the corner and sit here. So they unintentionally don't pick up the phone, right? There are techniques available that I have not put here, but you can see it online. But you can focus for 1 hour and then you can reward yourself for like whatever suits you, like whatever you are interested in, by watching a season maybe, or maybe a small video, or playing games, right? So these are some techniques that I wanted to share with you. Hopefully this will benefit all of you. Now, it's your choice. Do you want to get dopamine from activities that are going to benefit you in the long term? Or do you want to get dopamine from activities that are just going to mostly, in most cases, just waste your time, right? So the choice is yours. So I'm just concluding it, okay? So what did we discuss here? The conclusion is that we want to make things that seems hard for us easy first by using certain techniques that I have discussed. And inshallah, if you try to do this, we all will become better than yesterday, right? So now I want to end my talk with something that I wanted to share also. By the way, these are the references. You can search these references from the presentation. And these are research papers where the experiment is being given in detail. Now, again, I'm not a medical expert. There are many, many terms that we struggle to understand. But I tried to make it as simple as possible by going through a couple of videos and research papers, right? So you can see this. This will give you at least a path to go and explore, and maybe you will identify certain problems and you will try to fix it. One thing. Now, what does our creator say? I'm going to end the talk with the last slide. So what does our creator say about this? What does Allah says in the Quran for this, right? وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَىٰ. So if you see the translation, you will see, as for him who feared standing before his Lord and restrained himself from impure evil desires and lusts, verily paradise will be his abode. So you have to restrict yourself, you know. Now you also know some techniques that you can try out. And inshallah, we are all going to become better than today or yesterday. So that's it. Thanks, everyone. So again, I didn't put questions, answers here, okay? Because I'm not a medical expert. I'm not qualified enough to dive deep into it. But if you have any thoughts, feel free to share, right? So I can also explore myself and research about it. Yes, Daniel.
You said about mixing these activities or restricting yourself. You said that mixing these activities or restricting yourself. Can you give us some relatable examples where it actually works?
Okay, I believe you have seen those videos where people train animals, right? So what they do, they will give them something to eat only after they have performed a task. For example, people train parrots and dogs at certain animals, and those animals know if they are going to perform a certain thing or an action, they will be rewarded. So you are kind of tricking their brain into getting the reward later, and by doing this, you are actually training the animal. So this is one example, because animals are not that aware. So you are kind of tricking them. Okay. Anything else? Anyone wants to share the thoughts?
Yes. I have one.
Yes.
I have two,
Yes.
actually. First one of tricks that I already tested before is to mix between high dopamine activities and low dopamine activities. Example, when I work on a project or a complicated task, I don't distract myself by this technique, which divide times. I already mix them. So when I work on computer, I just grasp chocolates, drinks beside me, so I will not lose focus on the task. So I trick my mind that you're now getting a high dopamine activities.
Okay.
But actually, I'm working on this low dopamine activities tasks,
Yes.
which required effort for me. And I built like a habit for working and working. And after that, it will become easier.
Yes, like what you suggested, Karim, I have seen this also in research and some videos that people do what? They will mix up the boring work with something entertaining. So like you will see people listening to music while doing a boring work,
Yeah.
right? Although I would not recommend listening to music, right?
Yes.
I'm just giving you an example. So the thing is that,
I listen to Quran. I saw people
Yes.
listen to Quran while programming.
yes,
While
maybe.
they programming.
So it depends on genes also. Some people
Yes.
are interested in something, and our brain anticipates how it is going to get the reward, and that's how it releases dopamine. So it's different for everyone. Not everyone gets the dopamine from same sources.
Yes.
Some people don't like video games, right? They like outdoor sports. So it's a very complex topic. Our minds are very complex. I don't want to dive deep into it, right? Even scientists, neuroscientists doesn't know, so how could I know?
There is another thing that I noticed before.
Yes.
In many cases, the dopamine level will be related to certain task, same task. It can be easier or harder if we feel free to choose to do it or we are forcing to do it. Like if you are in work and you think that this task is requested from me and I have to change it, that's all. So you will feel it harder and it will generate a lot of dopamine. But if you think positively, this task will achieve X and or Z, you will feel it more comfortable. It will give you a higher dopamine. So you can think positively on the task that you are free to choose. You are here without any like you are free. You are free to choose to come here. You are free to choose the task you do. You are not forced to do this task. So this will be easier for you to do,
Now this is
and it will
yes.
generate a more dopamine.
Yes, this is something, maybe I don't know the exact cause, but I have experienced this. For example, when I started working as a associate software engineer in my first software house, there were timings, restricted timings, right? So you have to come at 9, you have to leave at 6 or 5. So, you know, it felt like a prison,
Yeah.
really. So the next software house, Workforce Software, where I used to work before Codeline, they had flexible timings. I sit like late sometimes, like even 7, 8, but I was happy. And I was like, yes, because I know I can go anytime and no one is going to stop me. So that is also a feeling. I don't know how to describe it. Maybe it is related to dopamine, maybe not. Again, I'm not a medical expert, so I cannot say for sure.
You mentioned that low dopamine activities felt like prison. So my question is, and you have opened my eye to an idea. So what if I opened a private prison to give gratification services, like help people to get used to low dopamine activities to lower their baseline? What do you think is it will be like it?
I believe, see, maybe I don't get it properly, but I always wanted to do this in universities. I didn't figure this out while I was in university. So I believe in university, this is needed, right? We need to increase self-awareness in students because, I will just give you an example, real life example. So they are not interested in lectures, especially coming from teachers who don't make it interactive or entertaining. Their slides are very boring, so they will just sleep, right? Because they don't understand the cause. They have to train themselves. Because some teachers might be very skillful, but they don't know how to make the lecture entertaining. So the problem is that the teacher will they don't care what I've seen. The students, however, if they know about this, they can train themselves. They can actually, go home, watch some other videos, build the concepts. So the next thing that comes into the slide is automatically interesting for them and not for everyone else. Because if you understand the concepts, then for you, things will make sense and you will like it, even if it's boring. So we have to put efforts from both ways. they also have to put efforts. But we have to make other people aware of this at least. They should be aware of this. Okay, that's it. Anything else? Yes.
So thanks for this topic. I really liked it, and it is an eye opener. I don't have a question. I just wanted to comment that it's the technology days that we're living now. The advanced technology, everything is becoming easier. Everything is becoming quickly available. Even the fact that we have Netflix or other platforms like that. Before we used to watch. Wait a week for the episode, what will happen, and I'll sit quietly for a week.
Yes.
And عادي الحين within the same episode we're skipping just to reach to the end of the this thing. So I think the most important thing that you said today is the awareness part, because the technology will continue advancing, things will become easier, but if we are not aware, we'll just be programmed and we'll continue living like a robot. That's all. Thank you so much for that topic.
Thank you. So anyways, just one thing I want to add. You have seen games, right? Now they are also using this technique, because people, when they find a game very interesting in their phone, they will keep on playing it. Like, they will spend hours. They won't stop. So they have a mechanism to stop them now. Like, you will not have enough gold, or there would be a timer. Like, who plays Uno here, right? So you lose gold, right? And then you watch ads, and you can only watch ads after a certain time. So they want you to keep on playing these games for years, right? So they don't want you to lose interest, just engaging into it, like, and spending 10 hours and then getting bored and throwing it away. So they stop you. So this is also something that just came in my mind.
Thank you, Atyab, for this topic. Now that you did some research and some videos as an instructor in CodeLine, what would you apply in your next classes that will engage more with the students?
When it comes to my batches, what we do is, first thing, it goes both ways. So I try to make it interesting. What I do, we do project-based learning, like in software houses. We follow a proper methodology, and we use many tools, like, for example, used in most of the software houses for collaboration, like GitHub, Slack for communication and everything, Jira and everything. So when it comes to, like, me, I try to introduce many things, not just a specific workflow, just these are your tasks and just do that, right? They will become bored when they come in. So you have to change topics, and you have to cover many topics in parallel. For example, you have to also tell them about computer networks, about information security at the same time, while you are helping them create an API, for example, web API. So what I would do, I believe most of the batches I have covered this topic already. Not like in this way, but casually. So I've told them about this problem, right? And what I try to do, I try to make it more entertaining. Even sometimes, I let them watch videos, right? Like, I open some YouTube videos that are very interesting, that present things nicely. And I also try to present things nicely, in a way that they build up concepts. Because if you build up concepts properly from the start, even if the lecture is boring, because you cannot, maybe you can make everything interesting, but it takes a lot of effort, right? So if you have 6 months, you cannot put that much effort to make things interesting. It's very hard. That's why teachers are not able to do it in university, right? But I try as much as I can. Even if your concepts are clear, even if the lecture is boring, you will get it. Majority will get it, right? So I try to put effort in the start. I try to tell them about this problem also, and I try to make things interesting also. And maybe I will find a better way later, but right now, this is what I'm doing. Okay, I believe that's it.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you.